fifth Facebook app tutorial. Now in the last video we left off creating our upload page and getting our profile loaded with REST calls. In this video we're going to use PHP and REST to create and upload actual posts, as well as give the user the ability to change their profile picture and cover picture. So let's get started. Now the first thing that we need to do is go over to our database here at localhost/phpMyAdmin, and we're going to create a new table and call this posts. Now we can go ahead and add a few more columns. We'll give this 5. And our first variable is going to say post ID. Okay, so we've created all of our variables. As you see here, we have post ID, user ID, post, our image, the time it was posted, like count, comment count, if it has a comment, and of course the privacy setting. Now notice that we have a varchar and our status image will be text. We have a timestamp here and boolean as defined 0. Now the other thing we're going to do is simply go over to our post ID and we are going to auto increment it and hit go on that, and we can simply hit save. Okay, so we have our table now and it's looking good. The next thing that we have to do is add some implementations into our build.gradle module app. Now these implementations are going to help us compress an image, pick an image, and it's going to overall let us view our profile in a different way. So let's grab these real quick. Now you can go over to the res folder and notice I have made the PHP bigger compared to the last videos. Sorry about that. And we're going to look for inside of designs, or I'm sorry, right here at this app level build.gradle. Now we can scroll down here and we are just going to simply copy this and give this a paste right here. Okay, we can actually, we're not going to sync yet because we have a few other things to add in our build.gradle networking app. And I'm sorry, this is going to actually be inside of our module app. We're going to scroll up right underneath build types and give that a paste. We're going to do packaging options, exclude the Java properties, and now over to our project level. So inside of all projects, we are going to copy and paste this line of code here. Jetpack.io, and we're all set with that. So now let's go to our upload activity and start work on this after syncing, of course. So inside of our upload activity, we are going to add a few variables here. We're going to add the URL of our image, the image that we selected. We're also going to add a progress dialog to let us know what's going on, as well as a compressed image file and a privacy level. Okay, now that we've added this code, we can pay attention to the privacy level. So there's going to be 3 privacy levels, as we know from our app, wherever it is in the emulator. I guess it's not open right now. But the privacy level 0 is going to indicate that it's a friends only post. And I will actually write out what all the privacy levels are going to be. So we're going to have, we will have 0, be the friends only. We'll have 1, go to only me. And we'll have 2 going to public. Alright, so now that we're set and we understand the privacy level, let's go into our onCreate method and add a couple lines of code. Underneath our onClick method here, we are going to write. Alright, so basically we have just initialized our progress dialog right here. We are going to set it to cancelable. We're not going to make it cancelable. It's going to go away on its own. We will dismiss it, and the message will contain uploading. So kind of trivial here, but let's continue. So our next bit of code is going to be setting a on-item selected listener to our privacy spinner that we created right here with our butter knife. So let's do that. Okay, so basically we set an on item selected listener, so whichever we select, if it is the friends, public, or private, we will either get the position that it's in, or if nothing's selected, we're automatically going to default to the 0 value, which is friends post. Now we have to add a set onClick listener to our add image, because let's actually take a look at the app how it is right now. Okay, so once the app is open, we can go to our upload activity, and we see that we have our add image button down here. Now what we have to do is add an onClick listener to it. So when we click this button, it takes us to our storage and we can select an image. What we've previously just added, this privacy spinner.set onClick listener, that corresponds to this privacy spinner right here, which is friends, only me, and public, and basically we're just getting the value that is selected right here. We're also going to have to implement a click listener on this post button, but we'll do that right after the add image is done. So let's go and do that. Okay, so this onClick method here is basically just using the image picker that we just imported into our implementations earlier, and we're going to set the folder mode to true, so it's going to allow us to select from our folders, and we're basically just going to start it. Now we're going to add an onClick listener to the post button that we see right here in the top right. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so inside of our onClick method, we have this upload post method, which we will create in just a second. However, we do have to implement the onActivity result, and I believe that we can go over here on activity. No, I think it's in our profile activity. Nope. All right, so I think we're just going to have to create it. Now we're going to go right under here and create this. Actually, I'm sorry, we're going to go outside of our onCreate method and we're going to create the onActivityResult method, which will basically get our image and set our image selected to true, and it's going to follow through with uploading our image. Okay, so basically the onActivityResult method is being called as soon as we hit the done button after selecting our image. And this method is going to get our image, compress it, and then display it in the little screen that we see right here in our upload activity. Now we have to create our upload post method. So we'll go ahead and uncomment this out for now, and we'll actually go into our REST services and user interface because we have to add the method here that will be accessed in our PHP. Okay, so this post status method will be called in our PHP, and this upload status will be called inside of our upload activity inside of the upload post method, as you will see in just a moment. So let's go ahead and make this upload post method. We actually have to, yes, we're going to make it right here. We'll give it a little space. Okay, so this may go off the screen, but don't worry, I'll explain all of it after the code is done. Okay, so this was a lot to type here, obviously, but I will make sure that I go through all of it so you guys understand. So in our upload post method, we have our two variables here. Now, the status variable is simply corresponding to this text here. This is our status. We're getting our user ID from Firebase. Now, if the length is greater than 0, so basically if there's a status or there's an image selected, then we go into the following if method that, if statement that lasts all the way down until the end. So if there's either one of these, we're going to show the progress dialog and we start our builder, which will send our data to the PHP. Now here we create our builder, and basically we're sending the post user ID, and the privacy level of the post. So this is basically, we don't need the image or the file if the image isn't selected. It could just be a status. So that's why we're only doing this for now. But if there is an image selected here, then we are simply going to add more data to our builder, which will be the is image selected as well as our file. Now, if there's no image selected, then we're going to give it a value of 0. That means there's no image to put into the database. Further down, we are creating another builder here, and we're simply using the callback from retrofit to get our response. And here we are dismissing the progress dialog. Now, if our response has a body, or we actually have a response, then we're simply going to say post is successful. After the post is successful, we are then going to start our intent, which will bring us to the main activity. If that doesn't work out, then we are going to post something went wrong. On failure, we do the same thing, and else we say please write your post first. That would be if someone tried to hit the post button without actually entering data. So now let's go into our Atom and create the post.php that will take in this data that we're sending to it, such as post, the post user ID, and so on. So go ahead and open up Atom, and we're going to go into our app folder, and we're going to create a new file. We will call this post.php. Also, we are going to create another folder, and we're going to call this uploads, and this is where all the images will be stored that we upload. So now let's go into our post again, post.php, and we will write the following code. And actually, before we go any further, I do want to make sure, so I don't forget, that in our bootstrap folder in the app.php file, we also need to include our post file here. So we'll give this a copy, paste it here, and we're going to change user to post. Okay, so we can hit Control S on that, save that, and back to our post file. Okay, so again, that was a lot to type, and I probably definitely made a spelling error throughout here, so let's quickly go through and see what we got going on. I know you guys probably know your PHP, so we'll just briefly hit on this. Now, what we have here is the post status function, and that is corresponding to the function in our networking app right here inside of the user interface. Further down, we're including our DB Connect, and we're also initializing our variables that we got from our upload activity right here, the post user ID, and privacy, as well as image selected. It appears I have forgot a $sign here. The status image will be blank for now, and if the image selected is 1, which means that we do have an image, we're going to move that image or file into our database. We are inside of a try block, we're catching here and echoing false, and then we say die. It doesn't sound the best, but yeah, that's how PHP works. So here's our statement, and we are inserting into our table post all the variables. Here we are binding our parameters, subsequently executing. If the statement's good, we echo true. If not, we echo false. So let us see, we can hit Control S, and we'll run the app and see if we can actually get a post up in our database. Okay, we have the app running. Let's hit the upload activity. We'll hit add image and select from our inventory here, and we say hey as our message, and we hit post. Something went wrong. Okay, so let's see where I mistyped in this file. Now, This all looks good here. This is good. It's probably in here. Ah, the upload should be uploaded. Okay, now let's try and save that. Go back to our networking app. Hopefully that wasn't the only error. Now we hit upload. We will select our image. Again, we say second times the charm. Second time autocorrect, I guess. And we hit post. Post is successful. So now let's go and check our database really quick. We will refresh our post table. And we see we have our first post. So that's really good. Now we have to do the same exact thing, except we're going to work on the profile page. So we're going to be able to change the profile photo as well as the cover photo and also view them when we click on them. So let's do that. It's basically the same thing as what we just did, so I'm going to go very fast. If it's a little too fast, do not worry, I left the code down in the description of the video. But with that being said, let's get started. Now we're going to go over to user interface and we're going to create our next little call here. Okay, so this upload image here is just going to be the call that we use in our PHP file in order to upload the image that we choose into our profile picture or our cover picture. Now let's go over to our profile activity and change a little bit of code here. So we are going to go above our onCreate method and we're going to add a couple variables here. So we're going to say int image upload type. This is going to be 0, and our second variable will be file compressed image file. And we'll hit Alt Enter. Okay, now we have to go inside of our onCreate method and create an onClick listener for our profile options button, which is this little edit profile button here. So let's go over here, and underneath this if else statement, we will write the following code. So as we know right here, we're defining an onClick listener for our profile options button. Now, if the current state is 5, which means that it is our profile, we're defining our options that we see, which include change the cover picture, profile picture, and so on. Now we're building our alert dialog, which is essentially just going to tell us to choose the options. And here we are setting our dialog interface. So what's going to happen here is that if the position is 0, which means that it will be the change cover picture, then we are going to set the image upload type to 1, and we create our image picker here. Else if the position's 1, which means it changes our profile picture, then we are essentially doing the same thing. If it's 2, then we're simply just viewing our cover picture and profile picture, which I have commented out right now and we will make in the next video. Also, we left a sign out method here too, and then we are simply showing the builder. So this is relatively straightforward. Now the next thing that we're going to do is move some code into our show user method so everything is more streamlined. Now this right here, profile view pager adapter, I'm going to hit Control X, I'm going to cut this code. I am going to paste it right here, and then I'm going to cut both of these lines of code. And we're going to go to our show user data method and simply paste them right here. And again, the reason that we're putting this code in this method is because the show user data method is already being called in our onCreate activity method. And where it is being called is right inside of our, actually it's being called inside of our load profile method, but the load profile method is being called in onCreate right here. So we're just kind of putting things together, organizing things a little bit. And on to our next little bit of code that we have to add, which is the onActivityResult method, which will be called as soon as we hit the done button, like I said when we were creating our upload activity. So all we need to do, it is basically the same exact method, is go over to our onActivity result right here, give this a copy, go back to our profile activity, and we can paste this at the bottom. Also, this onDismiss method right here, this needs to contain some code, and basically this onDismiss method is being called up here in our profile options button right here, set onDismiss listener. So you're going to import that method using Alt-Enter. So inside of the onDismiss method, we will say profile option button dot set enabled, and this will say true. Okay, so now in here we do have to change just one thing, which when we say compress to file, okay, then we say new file, and then we get the selected image path. And underneath this, all we have to do is actually just get rid of this here and say upload file compressed image file. Now we haven't created this method yet, so let's do that right now. We'll just create it right underneath here, and the code will be as follows. Okay, so inside of our upload image method is relatively straightforward. Basically, we are creating our builder here. We're passing the variables we need inside of our PHP, which include the user ID, upload type, and file. Now remember the upload type, if it is a 0, I believe up here we said if the upload type is 0. If the upload type is 1, that means we're changing our profile picture. If the upload type is 0, that means we are changing our cover picture. Because if the position is 0, that means, actually, sorry, I had that completely backwards. If we're changing the cover picture, the position will be 0, and therefore the image upload type will be 1. See, the 0 and 1 confuse me here, it's kind of backwards. But if the position is 1, which corresponds with changing profile picture, then the upload type will be 0, which means we're changing the profile picture. Okay, enough of that confusing banter. So basically we're passing our image upload type, and further down we are using retrofit to make a callback. If we get a response from retrofit, then we are either determining if it is a profile picture or a cover picture. So if the image upload type is 0, then we are uploading the profile picture. If the image upload type is 1, then we are uploading the cover picture. Now, if you can't see this code, I understand, so I will actually just go like this. And there you go, any more code you can't see. Okay, so basically that's our method. Then we have some error statements down here, and we're all set in our profile activity. I will actually leave this right here so you guys can pause the screen if you need to get this code. Also be reminded that the code is in the description of the video, so go and check that out. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is create this method here, upload image, inside of our text editor. So let's open up Atom, and inside of Atom and our post.php file, I have already pre-typed the upload image, as you see here, right underneath our post status, just to save a little time. And I know you guys know your PHP very well, but I'll briefly just go over this. So what we have here, we are including our DB Connect, of course. We are getting our variables here. And the rest of this is basically the same exact thing as our post status. However, I do want to pay special attention to this line here, which the location of the file that we're using, and specifically this IP address. So we're going to use this IP address, and that means that over in our networking app, inside of our API client, this IP address is going to correspond to that one that we used here. Now I changed this, I commented out our old line here and replaced it with this. This is kind of for mobile testing, but in order for the image to save, we're going to need to use the IP address here. And if you don't know how to get it, if you are running Windows, simply open up PowerShell or the command line, type ipconfig, and your IP address will appear, and then just copy and paste it, and you're all set to go. So anyways, that is our PHP file here. Now let's run the app and give it a try. Okay, we're at our home screen. Now let's go over to the profile page, and we're going to edit our profile. Now we may select any image. However, if the image is too large, then we won't be able to use it. I think I already hit on that in the upload activity. I noticed that this image was too large and the app will not upload it. So we'll pick a smaller image. I think this one may work. We hit done and we see cover picture change successfully. So that's all nice and good. Now let's go and change our profile picture. We can change it to this maybe. And we see the profile picture has changed successfully. Now let's go ahead and make sure that the images are saving. We can just back button, head back to our profile, and we see that it works just fine. Perfect. So this video is running a little bit long, and I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, but in the next video we will implement the ability to see our posts inside of our profile page, as well as implementing the news feed. So that will be a big video, and basically the rest of our functionality besides likes, comments, and of course the notifications. So I will see you guys in that video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.